Hi everyone, I'm Claire.
And I'm John.
And today we're going to talk about an article called One Drops. I'm sure you can already guess what this issue is all about. It is the falling rate of the won against the dollar. The won is not the only currency which is experiencing drops at the moment. It's a bit of a global phenomenon. Many currencies are not doing well, creating a very strong dollar. Of course, this has some expected economic effects on the various nations, but we'll take a look at those effects in more detail when we get to the article. Do you know what the dollar to won exchange rate is today?
Let me calculate this. Take down the one.
Economist at work here.
No, I looked it up. Google told me it's 1,424 won per $1.
I see.
Yeah, which is the highest it's been since I've been in Korea, and I think it might be near the highest of all time.
Highest, well, not during the IMF period, but highest since 2009-ish.
Yeah. The highest for what matters, which is when I'm in Korea.
Yes, obviously.
And get paid in Korean won and not US dollar.
Yes. Yeah. I imagine for an American, this is probably causing pretty big issues for you.
Yeah, I don't want to send my money home. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And if I have to, it's I usually close my eyes and press enter and then walk away. So I don't see how much it drops.
Oh gosh. Yes.
Until later when I can cry at home alone.
Oh. I guess you're in a particularly bad situation compared to me because very recently the pound has also had a pretty surprising drop as well. So at least when I'm thinking about my upcoming trip to the UK, I won't be losing as much perhaps as you are right now.
And, and if every currency in the world dropped at the same time, that would be fine. If it raised at the same time, it's fine. But if you have one currency looking at you, inflated America, that is too strong compared to other nations, then especially a nation that trades so much like the US. Well, we're talking about it, obviously. But do you and your friends talk about exchange rates at all?
Not so much now I'm here in Korea. But when I was in Russia, we used to talk about it all the time because a lot of my friends were in international trade. So it actually mattered a lot to them, the strength of the ruble versus things like the dollar, even the won. They were trading with Korea too. And I remember there was a particularly terrifying dinner we had once when we finally looked up, it was when Russia was invading Crimea, and we finally looked up the exchange rate, and then suddenly everybody at the table was like, I need to go because their businesses were crashing.
Yeah, I remember the memes from that. It's like, what do you mean the ruble is only worth 20? It has to be at least worth 10. What do you mean it's 5 now? What are you talking about? What
50% of its value in a day.
The bread will be 200 ruble. Yep, that'll be 350. And then by the time you get to the counter, that's only 600 today. Yeah,
it was pretty shocking.
It was a big joke, but it's not a joke to people who suffer from it. Which is a little bit what I'm doing, but thankfully not as bad as other countries have had in the past or currently. How are your friends these days?
It's been pretty volatile because of the sanctions, although the actual ruble rate managed to recover reasonably well after its massive drop. But they've got other economic issues because of the sanctions.
Yes. Well then.
There's all kinds of weird rules where they can't buy dollars, and even if they do buy dollars, there's a limit per day. It depends what kind of business you're in. And if you store dollars in a Russian bank account, they charge you a fee now. Sorry, I'm getting too much into it.
And is this Russia thing, or is this sanctions?
No, this is Russia's response to the sanctions because they're running out of dollars. Everyone was trying to save their money by putting it into dollars, and they needed to stop that.
Yeah.
How about we take a look at the article, take a look at the summary if we haven't got time, or the full article if we've got a bit longer, and then we'll come back and talk in detail in the next part.
Won drops. For the first time since 2009, the exchange rate has reached 1,400 Korean won to the US dollar. This makes it very hard to buy raw materials needed for manufacturing. Airlines, which must use dollars to buy fuel and lease aircraft, have also been particularly hard hit. It's also a tough time to be studying abroad, if you have to pay your tuition and living expenses in USD. One group that will benefit from the current situation is American tourists. But sadly, Korean tourists will have a harder time for now.